Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. We are here at the Eagle Pass Independent School District regular meeting, and we will be calling this meeting to order. It is 5:50, and this meeting is called to order. Mr. Mijares, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Mijares. We'll go through roll call now. We have Ms. Hilda P. Martinez, Vice President, present. We have Ms. Glenna Purcell, Trustee, present. We have Mr. Victor E. Perry, Trustee, present. We have our Superintendent, Mr. Samuel Mijares, present. Our Attorney, Valerie Carrillo, is here. And myself, Jorge Barrera, present. We will now move to Citizens Communications and Recognitions. We will first have our Citizens Communication, and we do have Ms. Enriqueta Diaz here to address the board. We do ask that everybody adhere to the rules of the 3 minutes, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
I'll speak
Yes.
rapidly, try to comply. Members of the School Board of the Eagle Pass Independent School District, I don't think I need to introduce myself, but for the record, my name is Enriqueta Diaz. I'm here as a U.S. citizen, a registered voter in Maverick County, and also pay my taxes to Maverick County and the Eagle Pass Independent School District. I am here in reference to executive session item number 8, number 3, and then of course 9, number 3. I'm not here to threaten anyone, but to speak on behalf of all Eagle Pass Independent School District employees, all voters and taxpayers of the Eagle Pass Independent School District, and yes, some of them even taxpayers of Maverick County and the city of Eagle Pass. I'm here to voice the feelings of many voters and taxpayers regarding our elected officials, including all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, people are tired of conspiracies, threats, shenanigans, and all sorts of political control practices that continue to be practiced at the stake of innocent, perhaps ignorant, fearful, shy, poor people that do not know how to defend themselves against political organization coups. This community is demanding an honest and transparent government. Even employees within the school district are tired of the practices of giving promotions selectively to those that are related to another elected official in power, instead of giving the position to the best qualified individual that will provide the best implementation of their skills and education for our children that you are supposed to represent. During the coming election, please conduct yourselves as candidates only to the best you have to offer and not whose back you have to scratch in order to move ahead. I truly believe that as professionals as all of you are, you can teach our students honesty and pride in the importance of principles, character, and the rewards life can bring you and how far those traits can take you to achieve success. I'm almost done. Let's not continue to show them to lie, cheat, conspire. Scratch my back and I will scratch yours. For those traits only bring you to failure in the long run. And as far as the items before you tonight, I leave that to your conscience. Hopefully to do what the law allows, what is right, and not show our community there is still always a way to circumvent the law, especially when people don't know any better. I pray that you will not continue to hold Lupita Fuentes' position in hostage, which appears is only to meet your political agenda. Thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you all and good luck.
Thank you, ma'am. We will now move to recognitions. Number 1, recognition of TASB Energy Cooperative's one-time disbursement to the district due to operational efficiencies.
Good evening, Mr. President, distinguished members of the board, and of course, Superintendent Mijares. Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you this evening. Our first recognition for tonight is the TASB Energy Cooperative is pleased to present Eagle Pass ISD with a disbursement check in the total amount of $6,502.49. At this time, we invite the board and superintendent to come forward for a photo op. The cooperative has created operational efficiencies over the past several years, resulting in excess revenue that will be going back to members in the form of a one-time disbursement. These one-time distributions are based on eligibility and methodology as approved by the Cooperative's Board of Trustees. TASB Energy Cooperative would like to take this opportunity to express appreciation for Eagle Pass ISD's ongoing support and involvement in the cooperative. Thank you, TASB Energy Cooperative. CC1 High School is proud to announce another grand achievement from their Silverline dance team. This past July, Silverline took full advantage of the EPISD dance camps sponsored by Eagle Pass ISD. The one in question was hosted by MA Dance Corporation. Silverline was awarded Grand Champions and Team of the Week by MA, and they had a total of 8 girls claim All-American status, which is the most of any EPISD spirit group from this season or ever. Congratulations, ladies, and keep being the blueprint to us all.
CBS inspired. Thank you.
Sam.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank Okay, we will continue with district reports and presentations. We will take 1, 2, and 3 together, right? Any questions for Mr. Mijares? ¿Cómo andamos? Nice. Yes. Very good. Any other questions? I know that one was a tough one. All right, we will jump to number 4, bond presentation. We have Mr. Gonzalez, David Gonzalez from PFM. And y'all have, they left a little presentation for you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Board President, members of the board. There should be a PowerPoint presentation in front of you. It looks a little bit like this. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This presentation is just a general description. It just, we're going to talk about your current tax rates, your current state level assistance that you've been receiving, kind of your historical tax rates, your historical state levels, and a proposed bond in the future, and how that would impact your interest in your sinking fund. I'm going to go ahead and jump to slide number 3. This is what we call the BVAL rates. This just kind of shows you historically what's been going on with interest rates in the market for the last 10 years. We are in a unique interest rate environment right now. The Federal Reserve has come out saying that in September, there's a good chance they're going to drop rates anywhere from 50 to 75 basis points. That's going to impact the rates that you receive in the bond market. So we should be looking at a pretty favorable interest rate environment here within the next 2 quarters. I'm going to go ahead and turn the page and jump to the next one. Here we have a list of comparable school districts to Eagle Pass ISD that show the last time they had their bond elections, the amount of those bond elections, and then we have the tax rates, the interest in sinking fund tax rates of those school districts from the highest to the lowest. So if you look at the far right column, starting at 51 cents, you have Laredo ISD, and it jumps down. You got Medina Valley, Southwest, Seguin ISD, Judson, Bernie, Divine, San Felipe del Rio, Cotula, Carrizo Springs, United, La Pryor, and Eagle Pass ISD. If you notice, Eagle Pass ISD is at the very bottom with the lowest INS tax rate of all the comparables that are on this slide. So historically, you all have been very, very prudent with your tax rates, specifically your interest in sinking fund. The last bond election, the third column from the right there, the last bond election the school district had was in 2007. So that amount was 22 million. So if you look at some of the other school districts and the bonds they've had through the years, Medina Valley just had 290 million. Southwest ISD had 250 million. La Pryor just recently had 23 million. United ISD had 409 million. So this just tells a story that the school district has been very, very prudent with taxpayer dollars over the last 25 years. If you jump over to the next page, this is the program that the school district has utilized from the state, going back to bonds going back to 2000. The EDA program, there's 2 programs that are offered by TEA. There's the IFA and EDA, based on your property values and your average daily attendance. That computes a state assistance formula for the school district. You all have received IFA in almost all of your bonds, and EDA is currently what is being utilized by school districts that receive state assistance. So the difference between IFA and EDA is whatever your state percentage assistance is, IFA, you would receive that state assistance for every single maturity of those bonds. So if it was a 30-year bond, you'd get state assistance for 30 years. The EDA program, which is the one that's available today, instead of getting state assistance for 30 years, you get state assistance for 28 years. You have to put a local share, a local portion, the first 2 years, 100% of debt service, and then the state kicks in beginning in year number 3 all the way to year 30. Yes, sir.
Is the state assistance comparable for both? I know one's
Yeah.
30 years, the other's 28, but do they give you kind of the same amount of help, or?
Yeah, it would be the exact same assistance. The only difference is you'd be on your own for those first 2 years, and that's just a requirement. Once you do that, then you qualify for state assistance going forward. But
And it has to be the first 2 years.
it
You
has
can't-
to be the first 2 years. Yeah, that's the way that the program operates. If you jump over, and if you all have any questions, just at any point, just feel free to interject, and I'm happy to answer any questions on any of these slides. If you jump over to the next page, this gives you an idea. So this would be slide number 6. This gives you an idea of what's been happening in the school district since 2010 from a state assistance level. Property values have increased a lot over the last 14 years. So back in 2010, the school district was receiving 65% state assistance on all of your debt service. And if you look at this line going to 2024, you've gone from 65% state assistance to 24% state assistance, or 23.8. And that's all a function of your property values and your average daily attendance. And it's common. It's not just you all. It's happened to Del Rio, Laredo, all the way down the border, South Texas. Everybody's state assistance has decreased because everybody's had increased property values. So this is pretty standard. If you jump over to the next page, this is a important backdrop for the school district. This is your bond ratings. This is anytime, just like if you were to go out for a car loan or a mortgage and you get a credit check, it's the same thing. The school district has a bond rating from the major rating agencies, which would be Moody's and Fitch. So if you look in the middle of this page, this is where the school district currently lies. You have an A1 and an A plus from Moody's, and you have an A2 and an A from Fitch. So that's considered an upper medium grade, which is a very, very strong rating for a school district this size. If you look at the columns on the far right, here we have the pluses, and then you have your red dots. These are the things that the rating agencies want to leave you with, right? So you have well-managed financial operations and solid spending flexibility, healthy reserves. You've always had very healthy reserves. And then you have low debt. And you saw that, I believe it was on slide number 4. And then the red dots there, low income indices. Everybody in South Texas has that same red dot. And then declining enrollment. That's the other thing. After COVID, it's pretty familiar as well. Pretty familiar theme at other school districts. So all in all, this is a very strong bond rating. If you were to go out in the open market today and sell bonds, you probably wouldn't need to get any private bond insurance. You have PSF, which is offered by the state, but you have such a high rating that you might not even need bond insurance. If you jump over to page number 8, this is the 2 bonds that you have on your books. You have the tax notes that you all did in 2019 for the energy savings projects. And then in 2016, we refunded some bonds that were originally issued back in 2007 and 2008. We refunded those in 2016. So this is the only debt you all have on your books that shows on the chart below. You have pretty level debt service, which is what we try to achieve going from 2024 to 2034, and then you're going to drop by about $500,000 in debt service payments from 2034 to 2035. So this is just a snapshot of what you all are obligated to pay on an annual basis. On the next page, this is where we get into proposed bond elections for the future. If the district were to move forward with a $20 million bond, you'd be looking at 3.6 pennies of an increase. For a $30 million bond, you'd be looking at 5.4 pennies for an increase. And for a $40 million bond, you'd be looking at 7.2 pennies. So the next slides is we're gonna break all that down and show you how we got to those numbers, but this is just to kind of summarize these scenarios. If you turn over to the next page, the top line, it's a blue line.
Mr. Gonzalez, just real
Yes.
quick. Let's say we would go out for 30 million. We'd still be probably the second lowest, going back to page number 4 in our tax rates.
That's correct. And you would be the second lowest. And in the analysis that we're using, we're assuming no growth in your property values, which we know is not going to happen. We know you're going to have growth. And we also use the current market rate plus about an entire percentage point higher than what we're actually seeing. So it might not even be that high because we try to put the analysis as conservative as we can.
Thank you.
So on this slide, it looks like just an Excel spreadsheet. It'd be the first one where the blue line at the very top, it says 20 million. So just working from the left to the right, you have your property values in column number 2. In column 3, again, we're assuming no growth there for your net assessed values. Column 4, we have all your existing debt service. And now in columns 5, 6, and 7, we're sizing a $20 million bond. And then in column 8 and 9, we're including the state assistance. You have your existing debt currently receives IFA EDA. We're proposing for a bond election, those bonds would qualify for EDA. So in column 9, we're including EDA in those calculations. In column 10, you have your total debt service. And then in column 11, you would have your tax rate. So you'd be going from about a 6.18 cents to a 9.781 pennies, which would be an increase of 3.6 pennies. This is a 30-year bond. Again, we're using slightly higher interest rates than what you're actually seeing in the market, and we're assuming no growth in columns 2 and 3, which we know that'll impact the tax rate impact that you'll actually be really seeing. If there's no questions on this one, I'm going to jump over to the next one. This is the exact same thing, except on the top, now we're sizing it for 30 million. So in columns 5, 6, and 7, we have a $30 million bond, principal and interest. We have your state assistance in columns 8 and column 9. And then if you jump over to columns 10, 11, 12, your total net debt service, and then you would be looking at an increase in column 12 of 5.398 cents. So you'd be going from 6.18 pennies to 11.579 pennies. The last one, it's again the same model. You have your property values, but in columns 5, 6, and 7 now, we're sizing a $40 million bond. And we have your state assistance in columns 8 and 9. You jump over to columns 11 and 12, you'd be looking at 7.1 cents, highlighted there in orange. So you'd be going from 6.1 pennies, your current tax rate, to roughly 13.377 cents for an increase of 7.1. So that's all we have. We have, again, this is just an informative presentation just to kind of give you a 30,000-foot view of your bond ratings, your tax rates, a proposed bond election in the future, what that would look like from an INS standpoint, from a state assistance standpoint, from the state. But at this point, that's all I have. If y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have.
Do we have any questions? We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Now we will move to item number 5, presentation by Schneider Electric on possible audit at no cost or obligation to EPISD. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Board President and members of the board, Superintendent. My name is Aaron Garcia. I'm with Schneider Electric. And the purpose of this presentation today is just to give you a little background on some of the projects that we're working with other school districts nearby and some opportunities on grant opportunities and low interest loans that are up and coming. There's also several different grants that have been on a revolving annual basis that we'd like to share with you as well. And what we're doing is we'd like to, before I go there, let me just tell you a little bit about who Schneider Electric is. Y'all have done a really good job in the last few years in reducing your energy costs and utility costs. That's a specialty that we have as well, is coming in with school districts, helping to identify utilities that and equipment that's at its end of life that needs to be either replaced or it's inefficient and needs to be addressed. Some of these opportunities on the grants that we're helping other districts with would be a great opportunity to have a softer landing, especially if you're looking at going out for a bond in the near future. So what we'd like to do is, what we typically do is come in at no cost, no obligation, take a peek at the facilities throughout the district to identify some of the projects that would be eligible and that would be eligible for some of these grants and low interest loans that are available. So the first step would be to come in, identify some of those opportunities. We have a good grant division that works with our company, that we would work together with your grants department and also to get these applications in and identify the projects as well. So at that, I'll open it up to any questions y'all might have.
You would come in and do an audit, like it says, at no obligation to the school district. You would present that, and then we would, from there, make a decision. Is that the plan?
Yeah. So what we'll do is the first step is come in, help identify some of these projects that you need to get done throughout the district that address different equipment throughout the district, and identify which of these grants maybe would qualify for some of those opportunities that we find. Once we have identified this, we'll come back and present the different options to the district to move forward with some of the next step, which would be to start designing and moving forward with replacements and of the equipment. But the first step is just as a very high level, no cost, no obligation, try to identify, is there an opportunity? What opportunities would be able to qualify for some of these grants and low interest loans that are out there? And then once we get to that stage, y'all can make a decision whether you want to move into an agreement, into a contract. We're an approved vendor through the Cooperative Purchasing Network, TIPS, also through a couple of other cooperative purchasing programs that y'all can consider at that time. During that time, you can decide to go out for an RFQ, to go out for bid as well. So
Correct.
most of our districts that we've worked with recently have just brought us in through the cooperative purchasing program. We're currently working with San Felipe del Rio right now for a second phase of work. The Uvalde Independent School District as well, we're working with them for a fourth phase of work right now. And we're helping them as well with identifying and submitting some of these grants, applications that fit the scope of the work that they need done. We've been just recently contracted with the Maverick County to come and look at their buildings, and actually that's at the second step of this whole process. We're actually in a contract with Maverick County right now, doing the design work.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you.
We'll move to item number 6, presentation on the process for vendors to participate on solicitations and the process to become awarded by board vendors.
Good evening, members of the board. Miguel Pescador with BIBoard for the record. Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to do a quick presentation. I did bring a PowerPoint. I'll be brief, but certainly if you have any questions, please feel free. set up here, but his purchasing staff, everybody's been very professional. Mr. Adais, I know he's no longer part of the board, but big role in that check y'all got earlier. He was part of our TASB Energy Co-op. So thank you all for the opportunity, like I said earlier, and thank your staff for the professionalism. So again, my name is Miguel Pescador. I'm with BIBoard. I am a consultant for TASB, with the Texas Association of School Boards. Under TASB, we have BIBoard cooperative purchases. And right now, I'm here to speak regarding the benefits of being a BIBoard vendor to provide you goods and services for your school district. Which, by the way, we are going to visit with several vendors here locally while I'm here. We visited earlier with Ancira. We're planning to visit with a couple other vendors here locally. Vendors and contracts, how BIBoard works, we usually award a 3-year contract. It's usually a 1 year with 2 renewals. That's our most common. 95% of the time we award the 3-year contracts. JOC, which is job order contracts, those last 5 years. Those are more for construction and actual rehab work, and so those projects take a little bit longer, so we give that contract a little bit more time to make sure contracts are completed and done correctly. So some of the vendors that I just put some up there on the screen that you might be familiar with are under BIBoard. As you purchase BIBoard contract through contracts, we are collecting a 2% fee from those purchase orders. From there, we actually give the school districts, any of our members, a rebate check at the end of the year, and those can be nice. I just recently retired with the City of Laredo. I was there 30 years, so the last 3 years as a purchasing agent, we brought in probably over $300,000 in actual rebate money using BIBoard contracts, which are fully compliant. We do, with the exception of the 2% fee is for cars, buses, and fire trucks. We collect a set fee, and that's state law we have to follow. We cannot ask for a percentage on that. Again, we have a lot of over 2,500 awarded vendors that you guys might be familiar with. Gonzalez Auto Part, Dectronics, BSN Sports, McCoy's, a lot of local vendors that you guys use. We do, provide as part of BIBoard contract. Now, 4 steps to be a registered and awarded vendor. We like to do outreach. Like I said, I'll be here in town today and tomorrow to help out, get local vendors, properly situated and try to get them to participate. As far as when I was in Laredo, I did do a local vendor preference, so we do that type of outreach when it is requested. And when I get phone calls like that, I'd like to meet with them, individually and try to guide them and provide these steps that I'm about to cover. The first step is to create a registration for a vendor. You want, the vendor to be as part of BIBoard. They go in, they submit their information online. They register, and then once they register, they will start getting email notifications from BIBoard to participate in our actual request for proposals when they come about. Step 2 is once they register, they have to continue monitoring and make sure their information is up to par, up to date. Sometimes when they register, you have to put in what it is that you offer as a good or service or both, right? So if the vendor does not fill out that information correctly, they might be getting a lot of what they consider spam mail, but they may not be the case. So we need to go back and update the goods that properly are being sold or services that are being offered from that vendor. So that's something we help out with. But certainly as long as they maintain that, then they have to keep a lookout. Anytime there is a contract awarded and it's going to expire, the BIBoard procurement team usually puts out the contract anywhere between 4 to 6 months before the expiration. So for example, the contract for vehicles, that one expires in November 2026. So 6 months before that, we tell the vendors, monitor for that proposal to go out. Once a proposal goes out, that's step 3. You have to look at the proposal, and I highlighted here, do not leave anything blank, do not forget any attachments, read everything carefully. So there, you have to go step by step. It is a thorough process, but it is important that the vendor, when they do submit a proposal, that they complete it with all the information that's being requested. Why? Because sometimes it could be deemed incomplete. They could lose scoring, which is step 4 I'll cover next. And also they could leave out important information for them to be considered for the award of the contract. Step 4, as I mentioned right now, this proposal, once we receive it, it's being looked at by our procurement team up in Austin. I am the consultant, regional consultant for the South Texas area, which includes Laredo, Eagle Pass, Zapata, Hebronville, and Bracket Ridge, all the way to Cotula, Crystal City. So I cover all that area as a consultant, but I do not get involved with the actual procurement process, which is step 4. That is done in our headquarters in Austin. We have a procurement team that specializes in scoring these. And as example, we use competitive pricing. We use vendors' history, performance history, reputation, of course, financial stability. Who are we doing business with? Do they have the proper resources, technical resources to meet our members' needs? And as we give out these contracts, as we award POs, we want to make sure that the school district, the city, the county is going to get that service or that good that is being obviously, requested and certainly needed, right? So capabilities of servicing and other relevant, proposal information that's requested for a particular contract is also scored. So it's a matrix of 100 points. Normally at around 85 points or better, the contract vendor will be submitted for the award, but it's got to go still through TASB board to get the actual approval from the board to award the contract. So it just depends on the score from the vendors. If they score 85 or above, the possibilities of getting awarded is pretty good. From there, it goes to the board as a recommendation, just like school district items come forward to U.S. school board members. That needs to be approved or rejected, whatever the case may be. But normally, this goes through our 4 steps. Once the vendor is awarded, and I'll pause a little bit. I thought I saw somebody raise their hand right now, but I'm not sure. No, we're good? Okay. So once a vendor is awarded, by board will then come in and help the vendor actually, guide them through to properly market and sell their items, because it's a win-win situation at that point. We'll bring them in, make them part of our buyboard.com website. And we also provide our vendors notifications. If this vendor services your area, for sure, we will advise the agencies that are members within the locality there. Also, we provide vendor showcases for their product services. Through our webpage, we provide logos and flyers that are co-branded, meaning their company as well as a buyboard stamp on it and right by the side there. We don't mind sharing, like I said in the first screen, where we have the members logo, whether it's Best Buy, whether it's Gonzalez Auto Part, whether it's Tektronix. We don't mind advertising for them because now they're part of our awarded team. And of course, that's something that's offered to our members. And again, it's a win-win. We do over 100 trade shows throughout the state, throughout the nation now. We have over 10,000 members. There's a lot of those members from Texas, 6,000 plus, but now we're going nationwide. So if the vendor that we award to is able to service nationwide, then they will get that visibility through our statewide and nationwide shows. Again, we provide exposure as much as we can to the vendor. We do have a vendor relations division that they can reach out to, and we provide the support. And plus, I'm down there at the bottom as a regional consultant support, but I'm here as well for for the member and for the vendor as well, in case they need to meet with me, on individual cases. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Do we have any questions? If not, thank you, sir.
Thanks so much again for everything that y'all help us with. We really enjoy the partnership we have with the school district, so we can look forward to continuing this relationship. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Now we will move to action items. We will go to number 1, consider and take appropriate action on the request to elect 2 school board members, 1 member as a delegate to the Texas Association of School Boards, and the other member as an alternate. And we do have 2 current ones. Make a motion to keep the current members.
I second.
We have a second by Trustee Martinez. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I guess we didn't ask, but congratulations, Victor.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hitler. All right. Number 2. Consider and take appropriate action on the request to allow Schneider Electric to perform a preliminary audit at no cost to EPISD. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Perry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Martinez. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Unanimous. Number 3. Consider and take appropriate action on the request to award sealed proposal number 243307 for food distribution area equipment, and the board delegates the superintendent or designee the authority to make related budgeted purchases and goods or services as per board policy CH, and amend the budget accordingly to include matters related to the district. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Alvarez. Do we have a second?
Second. Sorry.
Second by Trustee Purcell. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Number 4, consideration and approval of the purchase of athletic surfaces, appurtenances, and minor structures from Hellas Construction, Inc. pursuant to 1 GPA Contract 23-01 DP-03 for Memorial Junior High School track, and to amend the budget accordingly to include matters related to this project. Do we have a motion?
I so moved.
We have a motion by Dr. Alvarez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Perry. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Number 5, consider and take appropriate action to approve the 2024-2025 Student Code of Conduct Handbook. Mr. Mijares?
Yes, we have Mr. Wheeler here. Do you have any questions?
Go ahead, Mr. Wheeler.
Distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Mijares, there were only a couple of minor clarifications on the student code of conduct when it comes to dress code. Those are on page 22. Those were the only changes that we've made this year. I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Mr. Wheeler, would you mind reading them out loud so that, since we're in public hearing, the parents are aware of the changes?
Certainly.
please?
Can I get it?
Here you go.
I know they received pictures from both secondary schools, but I think this is an appropriate time to
Establish.
communicate with all the parents, the new
Certainly.
code of conduct, dress code.
Yes. It says, all students must be clean and well-groomed at all times. No mustaches, beards, or goatees, sideburns must not extend below the earlobe. There's nothing new there. We just moved the prohibited item from another page. We just moved it up so that it flows a little better. And then the other one, it says no wind shorts, short shorts, bicycling shorts, spandex type, shorts/pants, shorts must measure at least 7 inches from the inseam and should not create a distraction. Administration retains the discretion to determine appropriateness on a case-by-case basis. So the change here was that we added the 7-inch inseam.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
We have any questions from the board? If not, do we have a motion to approve? Motion. We have a motion by Trustee Purcell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Martinez. No other questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Unanimous. Now we move to consent items. We will take 1 through 7. Yes, together. Any questions on any of the items? If no questions, do we have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
We have a motion by Dr. Alvarez. Do we have a second? Second by Trustee Purcell. If no other questions, all in favor? All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. We will now move to closed session item. The Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District will convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to deliberate upon the following matters. Number 1, the board will hear the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074. Number 2, the board will hear the request to approve contracts as presented pursuant to TGC 551.074. And number 3, the board will consult with its attorney regarding legal issues relating to the current board vacancy pursuant to TGC 551.071. Do I have a motion to convene in closed session?
So move.
We have a motion by Trustee Martinez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Perry. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. The time is 6:38 and the date is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. And the Board of Trustees is now in closed session. For the record, Dr. Alvarez did come in at 5:56. So just, he is here. And we're in closed session and no action will be taken in closed session. Thank you. Good afternoon. The time is 7:53 p.m. The date is Thursday, August 22, 2024, and the Board of Trustees of the Eagle Pass Independent School District is now in open session, and we will move to item number 9. Number 1, the board will consider and take appropriate action on the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074.
Mr. President, I move to approve the request to hire personnel to fill vacancies pursuant to TGC 551.074.
We have a motion by Dr. Alvarez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Perry. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, the board will consider and take appropriate action on the request to approve contracts as presented pursuant to TGC 551.074. Do we have a motion?
President, I move to approve the request to approve contracts as presented pursuant to TGC 551.074.
We have a motion by Trustee Martinez. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Purcell. Questions? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Same motion. Same sign. Motion passes. Number 3, the board will consider and propose board action to determine the method to fill the vacancy on the Board of Trustees for position 5 by appointment or special election pursuant to TGC 551.071. And I move that the board make an appointment to fill the vacancy on the Board of Trustees for position 5 to be done at the next available board meeting before September 28, 2024. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Martinez. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Now we move to correspondence and information. Mr. Mijares.
Yes, I only have one announcement. We have the TA required safety training for trustees, which must be completed by August 31st. That's all I have.
Thank you. And now we move to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? A motion by Trustee Purcell. Do we have a second? Second by Dr. Alvarez. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. This meeting is adjourned. It is 7:56, Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Thank you all.